eerily quiet. Barely any breeze. And the only sound I can hear is these two walking. Now I can hear a jet plane. Yeah, going straight over the top of me. Huh. There's one there. There's one there. Different flight paths. Very apparently close from this position. And now I've got the sound of that happening. Every now and then you might hear the bark of a dog in one of the nearest houses, which are a couple of k's that way. Batman started following me around like I was, we're going to do something, we're going to do something. I went to get Sam and Sam was fast asleep. So I thought I'll just get Bat out and we'll just go up to the end of the street and back or something. But I kind of forgot how much of a hill there is just on the first part of our street. He was starting out really fast, still doing okay. But he slowed down a bit just on that first bit of a hill. His pace is picking up now. I'm not going to do the second bit of the hill, but we could do this bit of the street, which goes in the other way. It's a level-ish. He's good on the downhill. Quiet. It's amazing how quiet it is out here. Until you start crunching in the rocks and the dogs start panting as they walk. So Batman's lucky because he's getting 2 walks. It reminds me, I need to set the walk, I think. Just want to record the distance that we walk. With the last walk, or I started the walk app when we turned around at the other end of the street, just to get the distance. 0.49 of a kilometre, basically done close to a kilometre round trip, which is not bad just as you think of a little bit of exercise for him. So it's 3:30, so it's a little bit cooler out at the moment. I've discovered that my favourite beanies, which are this one and the one with the flames, have started to shrink a bit, especially the one with the flames on it. I think I'm going to have to start wearing my bigger ones when I come out for walks at this time of day because it's chilly. I was having a chat with my next door neighbour after he had some of those trees taken out. 2 main trees that he took out yesterday, right on the boundary line between the 2 houses. One leant right across his house, the other one swayed in our direction every time there was a storm. To finally see those out, really happy. The arborists asked me to move both our cars, even though they weren't going to be dropping things. You have a branch dropped off and bounced off the driveway under the carport into the cars, it wouldn't be good. That's what had happened before I got the carport. Branch dropped off one of those trees, went across my bonnet, smacked straight into the back of my wife's car and dented the trim. The 2 trees I pointed out right down the back of the fence line, the willows, yes, they're weeds, they're coming out. There's another one which is halfway up the property, which looks pretty dead. It's trying to hang on. Every now and then it'll just sprout out a few little leaves, but that's coming out, and the rest of the bamboo's coming out. Going to really open up the outlook from the house towards the bush, which will be beautiful. And he really wants to have natives in his block, and there's so many introduced trees. The two that were taken out yesterday, one was a Chinese elm, and the other one was a soft hardwood that I hear about all the time in the US. People think is pretty junky. They don't like it. It can be green in colour. I have completely forgotten the name of it. When the neighbour said it, I just went, oh, I know that one. I can't even think of what letter it starts with. I'll figure it out and I'll put it down in the work and put it down underneath. The other one that he said is going to come out is the really big one behind our sheds, which is we'll be so thankful when that comes out because it swings and sways in the wind. Next one that's got to come out is another, did he say it was another elm or another one of the other ones? It's on the opposite side of his block, hanging over his house. And he said it's just a ticking time bomb, just waiting to drop or fall. It's one of the things about living in the mountains with so many trees around. All those, all the angophores or the ghost gum. See tallow wood down there. They're all those. You'd leave them in your block, but you might consider removing the ones that are right around the house because they can drop branches or drop over themselves. So they're not very deep rooted. The neighbour said basically the council had come out and they looked at all of the introduced trees on his block and they said by all means take them out. They should be taken out, especially the fact that our properties are classed as what's known as there's a hanging swamp behind us. And I think the very bottom edge of both of our blocks are considered part of that hanging swamp area. Pretty miserable day, just cloudy and cool. I find the first couple of days of any break, if it's more than a weekend, my body just spends time trying to catch up. I've still got my alarm set, and that's because that's the time the dogs are used to me getting up and feeding them. I'm still getting up early, I have my breakfast, I have my coffee. Maybe it's a symptom of not doing much. I was watching Paul Jackman's video about making the teardrop camper. And this isn't saying anything against Paul's video, but I fell asleep. That's a long video, and I was watching it and concentrating, and I just started getting really sleepy, and this was probably around 10:30, 11 o'clock in the morning. Next thing I know, I'm waking up, it's after 12. I just crashed out on the lounge. Still got to do that stuff under the stairs, like rendering and waterproofing the foundation. I've got to look up the waterproofing additive that I added to the concrete last time, the cement. With some sort of additive you added to your render mix so it helped to increase the waterproofness of your render. The forecast is for it to rain tomorrow. The forecast was saying it was going to be fine for the first couple of days and then just rain for about a week. Now we've had 2 fine days and today